the revelation, but from the highly unusual persistence of the state press corps.
Considering how many platforms serve live TV content on a daily basis, we won't be surprised it would be challenging to go through it all. On the other hand, those moments that certainly stand out are random fails or unexpected events that occur during a live transmission. While some formats, like news, we may be more used to as addresses for such mishaps, we will see that these unforeseen events can occur on essentially any form of live television. Since they can occasionally make us sit tight and try to grasp whether what we just saw is true, today we bring you a list of 20 unforgettable moments that were caught on live TV. Number 1. Real-life Grand Theft Auto. To set off literally running, we take a look at this police car chase, which was broadcast live on Fox. We can recognize how severe the situation is based on the driver's behavior, since we see him going in the opposite direction of all the other cars. Besides that, his car seems somewhat smashed and producing smoke. In this pursuit, trying to take a sharp turn, the driver loses balance and hits another car, causing an accident. We then see the car produce even more smoke, probably rendering the engine useless and unable to provide movement. The man, however, decides not to give up even in this unbelievable situation. Instead, caught on live TV, he goes on to try and get into another vehicle, taking out a gun as a way to threaten the driver. He makes a woman leave her car and draws away in it. As we can see, police vehicles and a helicopter are chasing after the perpetrator. Number 2. Mike Tyson provoked on live television. The driver from the previous example certainly decided to take a chance that day. As we will now see, one should be careful not to get ahead of oneself, even on seemingly less dynamic occasions. When considering what could go wrong when someone provokes Mike Tyson on live TV, this reporter obviously didn't think things through and simply went for it, hoping for the best. Nevertheless, we will find out that whatever he had hoped to achieve wasn't what he got in the end. It's no secret that Mike Tyson has a somewhat troubling past behind him, having even served prison time. A couple of years back, he met the mayor of Toronto. As the reporter has insinuated that Tyson's reputation may do more harm than good to the mayor's career and incoming elections, Tyson showed him that these matters aren't to be taken as lightly and started by pointing out the negative spin that this reporter tried to pull off. After trying to compose himself for a few seconds, he realized that insults on live TV aren't what he should take silently. He calls out the reporter, going as far as cursing at him, and doesn't care to acknowledge that he's on a live show, even as the reporter reminds him of this. Even though the reporter tried to act cool and as if nothing was happening, Mike didn't want to give in to this rudeness that he was welcomed with and stuck with his attitude until they had to cut the program. Number 3. Green screen mishap. Meteorologists have been relying on green screens for ages to show us the weather map. However, this helpful tool can sometimes pull tricks on us. The first rule of being in front of the green screen is not to wear anything even remotely green. As this meteorologist finds out, doing so will make you blend in with your surroundings, possibly too well. As she walks out in front of the green screen, we can see the moment that her body language tells us she has realized her mistake. A nice gesture that followed showed us the anchor's professionalism, understanding, and care for his colleagues. As soon as he realized what was happening, he ran and gave his suit jacket to the meteorologist. Luckily that day, he chose to wear less greenish colors than her. Number 4. Bill Murray falls from a chair. It isn't often that we have a chance to see celebrities literally moving from one show to another. However, Bill Murray, as always, is full of surprises. As David Letterman was about to do his final episode of Late Show, he naturally invited Bill to be the one guest the show would end with, as he was also the first guest he'd ever had on his show back in 1982. Willing to celebrate this occasion, Bill showed up, jumping out from a cake and sipping a beverage that seemed like vodka, setting up the stage for his next endeavor. After the show, he had to go to another interview on another TV channel. As he got into the second studio, he tipped over and fell from his chair. Being the honest guy that he is, he afterward explains that besides the vodka he had on the previous show, he also had some wine during the dinner between the two shows. Number 5. Shaquille ONeal. As one could expect, Bill Murray isn't the only one to fall on live TV. We could say that the next video shows an even more iconic fall of Shaquille ONeal. During the NBA halftime report, as he tried to stand up, his foot got snared by a cable, which made this enormous man fall onto the ground. Being a friendly giant, he immediately uses the opportunity to have fun and even make jokes at his own expense. He even made the co-host feel comfortable enough to actually laugh at the situation. To make this funny event even funnier, he put up a reward of $500 for the best meme of the incident. From then on out, Shaq has deliberately flung himself throughout the studio on various occasions. Number 6. An unexpected guest. The following video shows the unexpected Wendy Birch, who is doing a live broadcast from the streets of Los Angeles. Leading the story professionally, she focuses all her attention on the camera and the viewers behind it. At this moment, a friendly man decides to catch some glory for himself, and boy, did he do so. Sneaking into the scene and into the background of a live television transmission, he managed to be just stealthy enough for the reporter not to notice him in the first few seconds. However, as soon as she does so, she gets the fright of her life right on live TV. Even though it took them both a second to realize that it was just a joke gone slightly wrong, we are left with this hilarious footage of both the reporter and the friendly video bomber getting startled. Number 7. The wrong swing. While some unexpected surprises may come from other people, as we have seen in the previous example, others may be our own doing. In commemoration of Canada's 150th birthday, its citizens have gathered almost 500,000 votes and suggestions about 150 activities that will take place all across Canada as a way of celebration. One of these activities was called swinging. As we can now see, a meteorologist from Global News got confused by the activity of the day. As he starts his well-practiced routine of telling what weather we could expect, he is smitten by realizing that the activity of the day is swinging. It draws a smile on his face, and he loses his focus for a second as he realizes the humor behind the swinging activity that can be interpreted as not a playground thing, but a partner switch game. We can see that even the most serious and professional people on live TV can be caught by surprise. It isn't unusual that this surprise comes as a joke that one wouldn't even smile about on other less serious occasions. As he made a few jokes about his colleagues and the idea of swinging, it took him quite a few seconds to realize that his interpretation was wrong and that it referred to playground swings. The type of activity he had in mind was more associated with balls filled with keys rather than a playground. As there was no good way to continue, he stuck around in the unpleasantness of the situation that this quick misunderstanding had caused. Number 8. The Goatman. Another moment caught live on TV that was brought to us by Canadian reporters happened live on CTV News as they were telling a story of the Goatman. As the story begins, we can see the three anchors composed and starting on a serious note, but as the story of the Goatman progresses, we slowly realize that they are holding their laughter back more or less successfully. In this eccentric story of the Goatman, his way of living is presented. It includes living around goats and trying to achieve a relaxed mindset, as the goats seem to have. He even went as far as to get himself a pair of prosthetic legs. In this attempt at a simpler life, he spent 3 days living among the goats in this manner. Now, as the story ends and the camera returns to the studio, we can see that the anchors are in tears from laughter. Gasping for air, one of them even had to get a Kleenex before they tried to pull it off with a few jokes and move on to the next story. Number 9. John Baran in heels. If you were to imagine being a guy who is wearing heels on live TV, this may turn out to be a nightmare for you immediately. This, however, doesn't seem to stop John Baran in his intention to prove that women don't have it too tough and that heels don't represent much of a challenge. Instead of proving that point, however, he seems to have shown the world quite the opposite, that wearing heels could get you hurt even during a live TV show. Because he wanted to shock his female co-hosts and prove his point, he attempted to lift his legs up on the table. Instead of achieving this feat in a leisurely and ladylike manner, he ended up landing right on his back as he fell from the chair he was sitting in. Naturally, staff immediately made sure he was all right, since, as they say, the show must go on. They kept at it. Taking this fall with a smile, John decided not to sit back again, but keep going with the show standing up. Number 10. Weatherman discovers a touchscreen. Unexpected moments can catch us by surprise, even when they are quite positive. This Weatherman on ABC 7 made an interesting discovery as he was laying down knowledge of the weather conditions that are currently in place. He mistakenly touches the screen, and as the image moves, he realizes that it was a touch screen all along. As one could expect when we discover something that has been there throughout our every working day, he couldn't hide his surprise. This excitement didn't end just with him, but spread throughout the studio. Other people in the studio reacted as well. One of the reporters knew about this, but the other one didn't and wanted to try it right away. As we can see, boys will be boys. They are both ecstatic about this seemingly uninteresting discovery. Keeping their professional role, they get back to business, but the touch screen had another move to pull on them. As the weatherman moved his palm vertically across it, he discovered it could tilt the map, another mind-blower that he decided to unravel in his own time and not live on TV. Number 11. G-Eazy and Halsey. In this previous example, we were shown that we never know when an awkward or surprising situation may hit us. As life would have it, some of these may even occur while we are on live television. In this extremely awkward arrangement, G-Eazy and Halsey were performing their famous song, Him and I, on live TV. But just before they went on the stage, she discovered that he had been cheating on her. As a professional, she did her duty to sing the song to the end, but she couldn't take it, and there were some things that gave away the anger that was brewing inside her mind. Number 12. A witty bride. Although the previous video was about love ending, the next one may reignite the fire. In this live show, reporters have brought the public an interesting story that spells love doesn't go old. Right from the beginning, we see the reporters chuckling as they introduce us to the 93-year-old Sylvia and her 88-year-old husband-to-be, Frank. These two decided that age is but a number and to go on living their best life for as long as possible. While the story itself seems quite wholesome, showing scenes from their wedding arrangements, it catches a hilarious and unexpected moment. The 93-year-old bride threw in a somewhat provocative comment about consuming love with her husband. This comment, it seems, was the one that stunned the reporters and made them lose control over their laughter. As we go back to the studio, we see them bursting into laughter. Number 13. Steve Harvey reads the wrong name. Even though it may not seem so, we can imagine how electrifying and intense the atmosphere could have been at the moment when the Miss Universe contest was coming to a close, with many viewers watching the contest live on TV and hopeful that their candidate will be called forth as the winner. A slip-up happens. A beloved host of a famous show, Steve Harvey, isn't an exception when it comes to mishaps on live television. After announcing that Miss Columbia is the new Miss Universe, Steve has to fix this mistake. Imagine how the celebrating viewers' hopes were crushed once he announced that it was a mistake and that the true winner was Miss Philippines. On the other hand, consider what an exciting adrenaline rush the newly announced winner must have felt. Number 14. Lady Gaga. Circling back to the amazing things caught live on TV in David Letterman's show, Lady Gaga takes the stage this time. While this pop star is well known for preferring a dash of controversy, her behavior in this particular case has stirred up the audience. Disliking the questions that she was asked, she decided to pull this amazing move as she ripped apart the Letterman's papers with questions. Not only that, but she takes another step to ensure that these are never seen again. Namely, she swallows the paper on live television. Number 15. Papa Francis falls from a stage. Gravity doesn't seem to make exceptions, even for those close to God. During his 5-day-long visit to Poland, Pope Francis couldn't have planned for what happened as he attempted his first sermon. In July 2016, as he was walking towards the podium, he missed a step and tumbled in front of all the people that had gathered there and millions of people watching the event on their TV live. Like other great men that we have seen who experienced similar unpleasantness on live TV, Pope Francis didn't budge. He even came up with a witty comment, saying he was mesmerized by a sacred icon in front of him and forgot the steps. As a man of God, he also realized there was no point in resisting the fall and that one sometimes has to take a leap of faith. Number 16. Emergency plane landing. Imagine being on a plane and watching the news. What you see at that moment is that the exact plane you are on is having trouble with equipment and needs to attempt an emergency landing. This is what 140 passengers of JetBlue Flight 292 have experienced back in 2005. The flight started from Burbank, and as soon as they were in the air, the pilots found that they couldn't retract the landing gear. Luckily, pilots have extensive training that helps them keep a cool head even in such emergency situations. Making time so that the control center could assess the situation and understand the extent of damage to the landing gear, pilots flew low over the JetBlue hub in Long Beach. What turned out to be the problem was the wheel under the nose of the plane. It got stuck horizontally and was unable to provide good landing support and controlled braking. After deciding that the emergency landing would be attempted at a nearby runway with modern equipment for these situations, the plane circulated in the sky for nearly 2 hours to burn through fuel and lower the risk of catching on fire in the emergency landing. Imagine the thrill of millions of viewers who observed this stunt being pulled off successfully on live TV. Although the situation was quite a serious one, everyone was safe. Number 17. A spider makes an appearance on live TV. By now, we have certainly seen that mishaps on live TV can be quite a bugging experience. Let's see what happens when a real bug decides to be the star of the show. Instead of using the green screen as a background behind Weathermen as they show us the prognosis, some rely on live footage from a camera placed quite high up. As it happens, these heights aren't much of a problem for a courageous bug. Getting prepared to present, this man was about to take his place in the left corner of the screen. Even as he gets near it, we notice something lingering in the bottom right corner of the live footage in the back. In just a second, the Weatherman also notices it, and being prepared even for the unexpected, addresses it immediately in a joking manner. As he was about to suggest that this bug must be enjoying the view from up there, we see a spider crawling down the camera lens and presuming to wrap up the prey that got stuck in his web. Not minding being on live TV, the spider proceeds with the hunt, and as the Weatherman tells us, it had quite a sunny day ahead to do so. Number 18. Rescue of trapped miners. Moving from heights to depths. This next video takes us to the story of how 33 miners got trapped underground. An accident that occurred in a copper and gold mine in Chile left the miners trapped approximately 2,300 feet or 700 meters below the ground. It took 17 days from the moment that this mine caved in until the rescue party made the first contact with the miners, who were miraculously unharmed. Through a borehole, the miners were provided with supplies necessary to keep them healthy until their rescue. Thanks to the organized effort of the rescuers, 69 days after they went underground, all the miners were saved. Over 1 billion TV viewers followed the extraction, and it lasted 22 hours since the miners were pulled up one by one, and a single ascend took about 20 minutes. Number 19. Pantless Reporter. It could be safe to say that after such a long time of being buried underground, the rescued miners definitely had to readjust and remind themselves of how things function in the outside world. As we will see in this next video, getting back on track with how things function can affect even those who are used to being on live TV. Those who remember how things were during COVID-19 can probably recall many occasions on which they attempted various online events. The advantage of working in such a manner is that we only have to consider and come up with half of the outfit, and it is usually the half that can be seen from our camera. This reporter has gotten too used to the idea of being professionally dressed above while having more comfortable wear below the table and away from the camera's reach. However, things may go sideways once we add our weird sitting habits to the mix. As we see, this reporter has managed to show his leg to the world due to these. Number 20. Kanye interrupts Taylor. How could we finish this list without having a throwback to the Kanye's rude interruption of Taylor Swift? The incident that Rolling Stone, a magazine focused on music and popular culture, named the wildest moment in the history of the VMAs. The event occurred in 2009, and as we could have assumed, it was during the MTV Video Music Awards. As her song, You Belong With Me, had brought Taylor Swift the award for Best Female Video, she was about to give her acceptance speech. At that moment, Kanye West felt it was okay to interrupt the pop star by grabbing the microphone away from her. As he has stolen everyone's attention, he opens by saying to Taylor that he will indeed let her finish, and that he is really happy for her. However, he said Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time. He declared, that Beyoncé's Single Ladies, Put a Ring on It should have won the award. While we don't necessarily disagree about the quality of Beyoncé's performances, Kanye's actions don't seem justified. Later, as Beyoncé actually won a reward for her praised song as a sign of solidarity and professionalism, she invited Taylor Swift back on stage to finish her speech. Now that we have reviewed this list of 20 unforgettable moments caught on live TV, we can conclude that such moments may occur quite unexpectedly. We have witnessed that reporters, weather forecasters, celebrities, and even the Pope cannot escape its randomness. We have seen various ways that those struck by mishap reacted to it, and if there is a lesson to be learned here, it could be to just relax. We are all just humans, and if these wildly respected and famous people can deal with it, so can we. As Vince Lombardi, a legendary American football coach, used to say, "It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up."